morning, Bronco Country. This is Broncos Weekly here on the Colorado Sports Connection. Hope everybody's doing well today. I am David Slade. I'm your host. I am joined today by Graham Tietke, our producer behind the scenes. How you doing today, Graham?
I'm staying warm inside today.
Is it nice and cold up there in Canada?
It's not the coldest, but it's getting there.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So, well, I will not rub it in that it's going to be about 65 here today. So we definitely will not rub that in. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, all right. Want to let everybody know out there that on Facebook, you need to allow StreamYard to use your name if you want your name to appear when you throw some comments up there. So make sure you click on that little link that says allow StreamYard to use your Facebook name. That's all it's doing. It's using your Facebook name. It's not using your profile name. It's not taking any of your information, just using your name there. So make sure you do that. And then also want to remind everybody that today's show is brought to you by Willow Seasonings and Blends. They are a Colorado-based award-winning seasoning and sauce company. So if you get a chance, go over to willowseasonings.com and use code CSC2023 and you get a 15% product discount. So, all right, Graham, 3 games in a row we've won now. So crazy, isn't it? I mean,
It sure is.
we were all sitting around talking about this season's done. What are we going to do? It's all over. Now it's, we're on a 3-game win streak. Things are looking better. Russ is looking better. The offense still has some issues, but we're winning football games. And that's the key point right there is we're winning football games. Field goals, we can't always get field goals, and we had some special teams blunders and things like that. But
oh yeah,
to scratch and claw and everything else and win that game, that said a lot about the team, in my opinion. I mean, it shows that this team is learning how to win because after Buffalo drove down and took the lead, it would have been easy for this team to say, here we go again, and just, blow it. So, yeah, we got a little gift there at the end when Lutz missed the field goal. And I tell you what, my head just dropped when he missed that field goal.
Yep.
And then you see that there's a flag on the play where you're like, all right, woohoo. So,
it actually kind of made me feel like, hey, that was a playoff game right there. That victory, that victory at the end there made me feel so good.
right. I'm looking over here and I think we're having some technical issues because I do not see us live over on our Facebook page. Can you go and look?
Yeah.
I was wondering why we had nobody watching, no comments, and I'm looking and I don't see anything on either on the Facebook group that we are live right now, even though it says we're streaming. So sorry, everybody. Sorry about this technical difficulty.
It's live when it's technical difficulties.
Right.
When there's so shared there. Yeah, it's shared on It's shared from Matt 2 hours ago.
Right, that we were going live, but I don't see the actual live stream on the page. So what I'm going to do is Oh, Matt just jumped in. All right, Matt, can you see us? All right, we're live on the page now. All right, here we go. Sorry, we were we were sort of concerned that we're just sitting here talking to ourselves. So, hey, Matt, do us a favor, share that all over the place, blow us out there, All right, let's get back to it, Grant, now that we got
Let's go.
something concerning about that, Bronco Bills game, though, is we gave up 192 rushing yards. I mean, we can't do that, And I know you're trying to focus on stopping Josh Allen, but you can't let a team run for almost 200 yards.
James Cook had 109 of those.
Right. Which
One
James,
guy.
the time that guy was touching the ball was getting 6 or 7 yards. I mean, luckily he was dropping the ball all over the place as well. But
Nine
no,
9.1 average
yeah, 9.1 yard average.
for that one guy.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
So, I mean, one thing we did do is we didn't let Josh Allen run around crazy. It looked like we were sort of spying him with Benito, so which was nice, and keep him from just taking off and running all over the field because that guy can really hurt you.
Right.
So, but good. I mean, the defense. I mean, the secondary played good. A little concerned once PJ Locke went out that I think the passing game opened up a little bit more when Turner Yell came in.
Our safety depth is a problem.
It is. It
Absolutely.
definitely is. And luckily this week we get Kareem Jackson back. And hopefully, Kareem Jackson can sort of keep his head in the game. And I don't want him overthinking where he's hitting people now, which, I mean, could end up cause problems. So I'm just hoping that it doesn't, go that way, that he doesn't, start overthinking how he's going to go in for a tackle on somebody.
Yeah. Did
So
you see what Sean Payton said to Kareem when he returned?
I did not.
He said, "You better not mess this bleep up."
Oh, wow.
In his return. Yep.
So, and hopefully he doesn't, I bet that's a pretty harsh approach, but that's Sean Payton. Sean Payton's just
Yeah. Yeah.
he's a rough around the edges kind of guy. You know, he sometimes doesn't know how to really say things too clearly.
Well,
So
you have to understand, like, we've had guys as head coaches who seem to be more wanting to be more buddy buddy with their players, you
right,
know.
and that was Nathaniel Hackett's biggest downfall. Is he wanted to
Exactly.
be everybody's friend. He didn't want to hold anybody accountable for what they were doing, including his coaches, including his players, and that seemed to bite him in the end. Where Sean Payton's an old school guy who he doesn't care what you feel, you know.
Exactly.
He's
Yeah.
going to tell you what he wants to tell you. So, but yeah, hopefully, I mean, if PJ Locke can't go, then we're going to need Kareem Jackson to have his head in the game. So, hopefully we're good there. So, um, so what do you think this game means for this Bronco team? This victory, we've won 3 in a row now. Um, yeah, one of them was against Green Bay. Which okay, Green Bay's not the greatest team, but you have to find ways to win in the NFL. Is my thought process. Any team
Yeah.
can beat any team in the NFL because they're all really good players, and all it takes is a few breaks here and there, for team A to beat team B. Like that movie says, any given Sunday, anybody in the NFL can beat
Yeah.
anybody.
Right.
So, it's not
And
like
that's
college where you have the big talent disparity like you do with, let's say, Alabama versus Colorado State University, where they have a huge talent disparity. It's not like that in the NFL. So even though people will sit there and say, yeah, it was Green Bay. Well, yeah, but Green Bay's an NFL team. They got the best of the best
Mhm.
players in the world, and that's what the NFL is made up of, the best players in the world. So every team, I mean, yeah, there's going to be some teams that are a little better, but the gap is so much closer in the NFL. So than than what you call it than than in college. So you got a closer gap in the talent level. So
Yeah.
beating
The thing is, a win streak is a win streak.
that's right, and they've won 3 in a row. And our friend Jody Moncrief over at Denver Bronco Roundup would always say, just start stacking wins. And that's what we're doing now. We stacked 3 wins now. And we're sort of finding ourselves clawing back up. Yeah, we're still in last place in the AFC West. We are still, I think, 14th in the AFC out of 16 teams. But
Oof.
the gap is not that far between where we're at and the teams ahead of us. It's like maybe one game, and you sort of pull up. And we got some of those teams on our schedule, going forward. So we got Cleveland, we got Houston, we got the Chargers, we got the Raiders, all these teams are teams in front of us. So if we take care of ourselves and we beat these teams, then we can move up. Cincinnati may have been dealt a horrible blow yesterday, depending on the outcome of Joe Burrow's injury. But if that guy has fractured his wrist or something like that, he may be done for, a long time, and that's going to probably throw Cincinnati out of the playoff picture. So, but I like it. I think this Denver team is learning how to win, and that's the biggest thing this team has had to change around here is the culture. We've had such a losing culture for the last 7 years, that it's like I told you earlier. When Buffalo scored that thing, it would have been easy for the team to say, "Oh no, here we go again." But this team said, "No, we're going to drive down. We're going to win this football game." You know, and that's what they did. Teams before, they probably would have. They probably would have. Just well, it's not meant to be. So and that was it.
Yeah.
So
So Burrow has a sprained wrist.
is that it? A sprained wrist. So
Yep.
hopefully, at
Yep.
least it's only a sprain and not a fracture. The way he was acting yesterday, because it looked like it was even a non-contact injury when he sort of. And I
Well,
guess it was hurting before the game. I guess he showed up to the game uh, a brace on his wrist.
and not on the
And
injury report.
right. So, and I think there might be some questions to the Cincinnati organization. Why was this not on the injury report? you know. But so he misses a couple weeks. So now it's going to be hard for Cincinnati to win. So that's another team that Denver can start gaining ground on. We got to take care of our Denver has to take it game by game, and we have to take care of our stuff. And this is going to shock people for me to say this, but what Russell Wilson is doing now is exactly what we need Russell Wilson to do. I don't need Russell Wilson to go out there and pass for 350 yards and or 4 touchdowns. You know, if he can go out there and pass for 200, 250 yards, a couple touchdowns, don't make any mistakes, don't turn the ball over, don't, and he's doing great. 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That might be the best ratio in the NFL. He's like 4.25 to 1 on the touchdown to interception ratio, which that's pretty darn good. That's where you want your quarterbacks to be, 3 to 1 or higher. And where he's at is outstanding. And this is what we need. He looks like he's getting more and more comfortable in this system. So, and Jody,
Absolutely.
and we'll get to questions here in a minute. So we're not going to ignore your comment, Jody. So because I think this is a good question or a good comment, and we will get to it. But what we're going to do in this format now is we're going to talk, we're going to break, we're going to go over some comments. So that way we don't sort of get sidetracked on where we're at, but just let everybody know. But um, I think this victory showed this team that we can go in on the road and win in a place that we haven't won in 17 years. You know, we haven't beat Buffalo in a long, long time. You know, we hadn't beat Kansas City in what, 16 straight games? You know, we ended that streak. We
Yeah.
ended the streak with now we're starting to build our streaks. We're starting to do our things. And I think this victory is just another small step in that direction of, this team building that culture of we can win, not anymore of, crap, here we go again. They just scored. They took the lead. There's less than 2 minutes left. We're going to lose. No, Russ went out there and Russ did what Russ had to do, and Russ drove that team down the field. And everybody's going to say, well, we got lucky. There's a pass interference, and they had 12 men on the field. But that's the rules of the game. I mean,
It's not the
it's
Broncos' fault.
no, it's not the Broncos' fault that the Bills defender interfered with Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, was the pass underthrown? Of course, but that happens all the time in the NFL. Passes get underthrown, and that the receivers have the right to come back to that ball. And if a defender just runs into the guy so he has no right to the ball, then that's pass interference by the rule book. It's just like people saying, well, it was a technicality that they won at the end because of 12 men on the field. That's not a technicality. That's a violation of the rules. You're only allowed 11 guys on the field. You have more than that, it's a penalty. Buffalo had 12 guys out there. Now, one thing that did bother me towards the end of that game was I would have loved to have had a timeout,
Yeah.
just for that situation, because, yeah, did we get lucky because they had 12 guys out there? We sure as heck did, because let's miss that thing because he was rushed. And he even said afterward the game, he said, that was all on me. He said, I had plenty of time, but I rushed myself because of the situation. So if we would have had a situation where we could have called timeout, and run the clock down to 5 seconds, call timeout, and then let everybody just get set up. But luckily, we were rushing. Buffalo was rushing as well, and they ended up, having some sort of So, but hey, let's look at some comments now. So, let's look
All
at this one by Matt first. So,
Similar game
these
plan
run
to
first
what?
games, and I think what he means is a run first type approach. I think is similar to what
Oh,
the Broncos are doing. I think is what Matt is saying. Can we
that
win
run
games?
defense is not great.
No, it's not, and that's the concern. And I think that's where our backers are going to have to step up a little bit, and we're going to have to get them in there to be able to stop the run. And let's really, you know, I have 100% confidence in our secondary now. Now that Mathis is, I don't know where he's
Not in
at,
the
but
starting lineup.
right. Yeah. So he's definitely not out there, but uh I think we can, because I think we can control the clock too. And I think if we can control the clock and keep them on the sideline, they don't get as much to run. So, and I think that's the way we're going to have to do it. We're going to do that. We're going to have to ride Javonte Williams and P. Ryan and McLaughlin, and let Russ do what Russ is doing right now. So,
And we've
um,
shown we can.
right. This next one from Jody. Can we admit Russ is a top 5 QB?
I can name you
I don't
5
know if I'm
others.
ready to go top 5.
Probably.
I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to go top 5, but
Because you have to understand the way that we're winning. We're not airing it out. We're
right.
not,
I mean,
you know.
what are you basing top 5 on? You know? I mean, statistically, okay, yeah, he has some very good stats. But it I'm just going to say this, is Russell Wilson the reason we're winning? Would you say so, Graham? Would you say Russell Wilson is the reason we're winning?
He's
I
not
don't
a
think
reason
he.
we're losing games. But
Well, and what I was going to say right now, the way he's played the last 3 weeks, I wouldn't. And yeah, the Kansas City game, he threw 3 touchdowns, played very well, but a very pedestrian approach. His statistics were pedestrian, minus the 3 touchdowns. But if you look at that whole thing, our average drive length in that Kansas City game was like, if you take all of our drives and average out the yards we had on the drives, it comes out to like 23.7 yards per drive. I mean, so Russ had some very short fields to work with and benefited, and put the ball in the end zone, which is what we want him to do. That's what we ask him to do. So I'm going to say Russ has been not the reason we're winning, but he's not losing us games either, and that's what we need. We need him not to lose us games. We need him not throwing interceptions, not taking sacks when you don't need to, not fumbling the ball, which and then we got this next comment from Jody that Russ is our QB for the next 10 years, and I disagree with that 110%.
there's
Uh,
no way.
there is absolutely no way at all. I think here's my thoughts, and this is the way I hope the Broncos proceed forward. You're going to have Russ next year because Russ is looking good. Russ has basically 2 years before we could really move on from his contract and it not really cost us a lot of money. So even after 2024, before the 2025 season, you can still move on. It's not as bad. Um, I think, and if I was Denver, this is what I would do. I would go out and I would draft somebody like a Jaden Daniels out of LSU and let him sit behind Russ for a year. And then you turn it over to him and you part ways with Russ because I mean, I hate to say, yeah, I don't see Russ playing 10 more years. I don't see him being an effective quarterback for 10 more years, you know? Um, but who am I? What do I know? That's just my opinion. I don't I don't see Russ being a 10-year guy. I don't see him playing until he's almost 46 years old. 40 maybe, 4 more years, but not here in Denver, I don't think. I think Denver, when they can, one, if they have the opportunity, they're going to get a future quarterback in this draft because this is a strong draft class. And like I said, Jaden Daniels is the guy I want. You know, I think he would fit well into a Sean Payton offense. He's a nice dual threat guy too that can really help us out, and expand things. But I can see Russ going somewhere else and playing, after 2 or 3 more years. But I don't see him going much further than that. Does he
Yeah,
really even want to? I know before he said
yeah,
that, but
true.
what you call it? And then this next comment from Jody: if we make the playoffs, we can go deep. We could, but we need to fix our run defense. We can't allow um, teams to rush the ball for 192 yards. Yes, we won. Yes, we beat Buffalo. Yes, we beat Kansas City. Yes, we beat Green Bay. You know, But we still do have concerns on this team. This isn't a perfect team, but I like the way it's going. You know, I like the way things are going on this team. I like the culture they're building now. I like that, after that Miami game, things have sort of changed around here. Yeah, I know we didn't win all of the games, but, you know, everybody was calling for TJ. I mean, for VJ. It's not LSU purple Jody. I mean, there are plenty of people out there that have Jaden Daniels as one of the top quarterbacks in college. It has nothing to do with LSU. So, I mean, if your guy at Notre Dame were putting up good numbers, I would say, yeah, take a look at him. But he's not. He showed that he's not an elite quarterback. Where Jaden Daniels has been doing this all season. He's putting up Joe Burrow type numbers that Joe Burrow put up in 2019. The problem there is LSU has a horrible defense and they lost 3 games to 3 top 10 teams. So other than that, I mean, Jaden Daniels would be getting the pub that Drake May and Caleb Williams are getting if LSU didn't have 3 wins. But the media fell in love with Caleb Williams. They can't ditch him now, you know. So, and he is a unique talent. He just has some growing up to do, in my opinion. So, but anyway, back to what we were talking about. I think this team could do some damage in the playoffs if we can, if we could, uh, you know, shore up our run defense. Because you get into January and stuff gets colder, you know, you start playing. You're going to have to be more effective running and stopping the run. So LSU does not run a gimmick offense. So you think that all you want, Jody, but they do not run a gimmick offense. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Minnesota Vikings coming in. Minnesota's won 5 games in a row quietly. You know, very quietly, Minnesota has won 5 games in a row. They're playing good football. So what do we have to do to beat these guys? One, I think we need to do what we've done to everybody else. You know, our offense needs to be our best defense. Our offense needs to control the ball. Our offense needs to eat up the game clock and keep the Minnesota offense on the sideline. So, I mean, because Minnesota, they can put up points, you know. It's not like they're, you know, a horrible team. So offensively, and they're getting Justin Jefferson back this week. So we'll see how
And
things
we
go.
now know what Josh Dobbs is.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Dobbs is he the guy who's gonna, you know, w- you know, lead the league and everything? No, but I think he's effective. I mean, he's not a Patrick Mahomes or a Joe Burrow or anybody like that, but he's effective, you know. So we just need to force him into mistakes. One thing he does do is fumble a lot. He's put the ball on the ground 11 times this year.
Oh
So
wow.
if we can put the pressure on him and get him to fumble the ball a lot, that would be great. So, but we'll
I
see.
personally I think that's going to be pretty tough because we don't really have a pass rush. The thing is, I if he can't run the ball, we would probably be able to hit him quite a fair amount. So that's probably our best chance there.
Yeah, and I think our pass rush is getting a little better. Even if it's just pressure, it may not amount to sacks.
True.
So, but at least put the pressure on them. I don't care if you get pressure can be just as effective as a sack because it could force the quarterback to make a throw they don't want to, and they end up, throwing interceptions or fumbling the ball. Like Jody says, Dobbs is a fumble machine, which he is. You know. So we need to force him into mistakes. So and so
Yeah.
hopefully we can do that. So it's going to be tough. Let me look at my weather really quick. I think it's supposed to be cooler on Sunday. I think maybe even some snow here. Let me double check our weather forecast. Sorry about that. I'm a little under the weather, people. So if I seem a little out of it, no, this Sunday's supposed to be 56 degrees. So come kickoff time, it'll be probably about 45. It'll get down to maybe
Ooh.
the 40s by the time the game's over. So I don't see any signs of precipitation in the forecast. So I don't think the cold weather is gonna bother Minnesota. Yeah, I know they play in a dome, but those guys live in cold weather, so I don't think it's gonna really bother them too much. Sorry, I was hoping to avoid that. So I made a last minute decision this morning, to do the show. It's like I told Matt and Graham yesterday. I just go in these coughing tangents. So, and I decided this morning, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try it anyway. Um, what you call it, but so I'll mute my mic if I have to go on another coughing fit, people. Sorry about that. Trying to get myself situated here. And Jody
Yeah.
says Locke being out is a big loss, and I agree that that's going to be a huge loss. Like you and I were talking about before the show when we came on, Graham, when Turner Yell
Yeah.
came in, Buffalo seemed to be a little more successful in moving the ball. So good thing is we get Kareem Jackson back this week. But I still think he's a downgrade over PJ Locke. I mean, do you agree, Graham, Jody? Do you agree that Kareem is sort of a, a downgrade over PJ Locke? I mean, I actually think I think if PJ Locke wouldn't have got hurt, I don't think Kareem was going to get a starting job back. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think I don't know whether or not he's a downgrade, but in
I
terms
think in
of
pass coverage he is.
okay,
Yeah, I
in
mean
terms
that's
of
where I think he's really a downgrade is what you call it is in the passing game. He's still a
yeah,
hitter, but I just think he sort of lacks that speed now. He's getting
oh yeah,
older. That just happens as you get older, but he'll still hit you, you know. I mean, hopefully he cleans that up because we definitely don't need to lose him. Are the refs going to be watching him, and anything that's close, are they going to throw him out of the game? We hope not,
right.
because I
You,
definitely don't want Turner Yell back in there again. So, but
you
yeah,
know,
and you said
it,
it before we came on, Graham, but safety depth is an issue, with the injuries we've had with Caden Stearns, and PJ
Caden
Locke, and
Stearns, man,
yeah,
he absolutely would have been in place of Kareem.
y- yeah, I agree. So I think Caden
M-
Stearns probably would have been the starter. You know, I think him and PJ Locke were sort of battling for that starting role, and then PJ Locke got hurt, Stearns got hurt, and that's why Jackson ended up with it. And I agree with Jody here. Yeah, Jackson is a downgrade, but yeah, we'd rather have Jackson in there over Turner Yell. So, I mean, Turner Yell just struggled. So, um, but I'll tell you the
well,
guy that's really the guy, and this is a good segue there. Thanks for bringing this up. Graham, is the resurgence of this defense. McMillan, that guy is a stud.
oh man,
Gee
yeah,
whiz, that guy's a stud, And I'm not trying to bash Jody here, but Jody was always just screaming for, I want Riley Moss. Oh no, I want McMillan. That guy. And Riley Moss might be a good addition, a depth guy in the future, but I think with McMillan and gee whiz, and Pat Surtain, I mean, we got two good corners there. I
yeah. And
think
I was thinking, hey, we should probably draft a corner early, first, second round this upcoming draft.
well, and
Maybe
and
not so much anymore.
well, and and I've always been let's grab a quarterback in the first round, but I'm not there anymore because I see what Russell's doing now. We can use Russell for a couple more years, a year or two, you know. So why waste a first round pick on a guy if you still have Russell Wilson that you're not going to play a guy, you know? Plus, I think the way this team's going, we're not going to end up with the top 10 pick anyway, unless the wheels just fall off the bus, you know?
Again.
So I would love to see some more defensive help, maybe some line help or an edge rusher or someone like that. Um, I think that's our biggest areas there on the defensive side is maybe that defensive line area. I think with the way Benito and Cooper and Baron Browning, those guys are coming on. I mean, this whole resurgence of this defense. So, and I got a question, and Jody, if you're still out there, answer and let me know what you think, or listening, let me know what you think. Everybody wanted Vance Joseph fired. If this defense continues the way it's going, do you keep VJ next year? I mean, what's your thoughts, Graham? I mean, is it sort of like the whole offensive thing where it's taking the offense a while to adjust to Sean Payton's offense? The same thing can be said of the defense. It's taking a while for these guys to adjust to VJ's defense. And I
It's
love how aggressive they are and everything else now.
it's either that or they've just changed enough. That's my thinking there. I think
That VJ has made enough changes, or the players have changed enough, or we got a lot of players back too. You got to admit, we had some
true.
guys
Yeah.
hurt. We had guys out. We had guys. Josie Jewell's out for a while. Simmons was out. These guys come back. The defense starts playing better. I mean, the last 3 weeks, our defense is number one in points per game allowed.
Yeah.
Where before that we were bottom of the barrel, but now we're number one for the last 3 weeks. And if that can keep going, then I agree with Jody. We can ride a defense deep into the playoffs. Will it go to the Super Bowl? I don't know, but I'd be happy just to get into the playoffs.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
you know, because
It's part of
once you get there, anybody has a chance. All you have to do is get hot. You know, so
it, it
excuse
would
me.
be it would be building onto something for the future if we at least
And I
make it.
agree, and that's what I need to do, and that's what we need to remember as a team. That's what we're doing. We're building towards the future. Yeah, I mean, if anybody really thought this team was going to be a Super Bowl contender this year, I think they were just drinking the Kool-Aid. But I do see us getting better. Let we have a couple tough games. Minnesota's not going to be a pushover. Cleveland, even though they're going to have a rookie quarterback, unless they sign somebody, which I believe Joe Flacco went in there. And there's also been talk of
Yeah.
Nick Foles, maybe Matt Ryan's name was even thrown around out there. So, um, who knows? But that defense that they have in Cleveland is legit. So we're going to have
Oh
a,
yeah.
a a challenge on our hand just moving the ball against that defense. But I like the way our offensive line's playing. So, but if we keep going, yeah, who knows what can happen if this team gets into the playoffs? Anything can happen. But I really like the defense. I think the defense is the strength of this team now. When at the beginning of the season, we were all screaming that it was Jesus. Everybody was heading down to Empower Field with pitchforks and torches, ready to drag VJ out of there, especially after that Miami fiasco. But one thing I've liked, usually when something like that happens, you start hearing a lot of infighting with the team and stuff, and you haven't heard any of that. And this team is just they've stuck together, you know, and I think getting some of the leaders back, like Justin Simmons and Josie Jules and guys like that, the veteran guys, I think that's helping to bring this defense back together. Making the move to get Mathis out of there, was huge. Last year I thought Mathis was going to be a decent player. He just,
Yeah.
man, that guy
Me
had a
too.
rough start to the season. Very rough start. So, and hopefully he can fix it, because I think he has the talent to do it, but sometimes people just get things in their head and they just can't get them right. And then hopefully, and I think he may have been struggling with the concepts of VJ's defense, like a lot of guys did at the beginning. And I think that's why the defense was the way it was. But now, the guys are getting the hang of it, sort of like the offense is getting the hang of Peyton's, you know, system. So we'll see. And Jody has a good thing, right? And he says, glad to see Russ balling. And right now he is in the MVP race. And I think right
I'm
now he's on the outside looking in. I think he can work his way in there. If Denver keeps winning, I think his name's going to creep in there. But you also got to look. The thing that really is separating Russ from everybody else right now, his pass percentage is almost 70%, and his touchdown to interception ratio is insane. They're at 6. I mean, what did I say earlier? 4.25 to 1, which is a very good ratio. 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Very good. And I think that'll be things if Denver continues to win and claws its way back into the MVP race, then I could see Russ's name being in the middle of that conversation. And I don't really see, excuse me, I don't really see a clear-cut favorite in the MVP race this year. Do you? I don't really see anybody really just pulling
well,
ahead of anybody else.
I don't know, like if it's in terms of along the same terms of the Pro Bowl, but is it maybe a popularity contest to a point?
I think at times it is.
Yeah,
I think, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and his name's
yeah,
always going to be a part of it, you know?
and he
So,
could have like 10 MVPs by the end of his career.
right, you know? Um, I think Joe Burrow, if he wouldn't have started the season injured, and then the way he started playing after he recovered from that calf injury, and now he's hurt again, I think Joe Burrow was, starting to feel himself as probably an MVP candidate. But now, he's probably out of it with this wrist injury because who knows how long he's going to be out, what that's
Right.
going to do. Unfortunately, I think to be an MVP, and I disagree with this sort of like I disagree with the Heisman thing, you know, the MVP should be the best player in the game, right? Just
Right.
like the Heisman Trophy winner should be the best player in the game. It doesn't mean you have to be on the best team, you know? I mean, but unfortunately, that's the way it has become. Um, and that's the way it may go. So, Alex says, what does Denver have to do to stop a QB like Dobbs that has something to prove? And it's like we talked about earlier. Not sure if you're here, Alex. I think the key is let's just put some pressure on him because he'll make mistakes. Dobbs will make mistakes. But I think Dobbs is out trying to prove something as well, and he can get hot. And that's one thing we can't allow him to sit back there and get comfortable in that pocket because he can get hot, you know. The good thing
Yeah, he
is our
has
secondary is
Amari
playing.
Cooper.
What's that?
I said, yeah, he has Amari Cooper, who has been good for in his career.
What do you mean he has Amari Cooper? Dobbs?
Josh Dobbs. Yeah.
Amari Cooper is on the Browns. Are you
Oh
confusing
my.
our games again?
Again.
Graham did
Yup.
this before the show. He confused it,
Before the
but
show.
he will have he will have Justin Jefferson back.
Justin Jefferson.
So
Yes.
yes, so and I mean they have a decent tight end as well. So I think we need to make sure
Hawkinson.
that we're not letting Hockenstein run all over the place. We need to stop him. He already has 71 receptions this year. So that's something, and we've done a lot better with eliminating tight ends. Kelsey really didn't go crazy
Yeah.
on us. Kincaid didn't go nuts on us in the Buffalo game, which is something that we were concerned about. But I think the key, Alex, to answer your question is we got to put pressure on him, not let him sit back there and get comfortable. So, and Alex brings up a good point that, Jefferson and Hawkinson they'll need to be neutralized just like we did Diggs and Kincaid. And I think you do just like you you did. You put Surtain on Jefferson, sort of like he was on Diggs for probably 90% of the game. So uh put him one on one with him, let him cover him. Um and I think if you can neutralize those two and slow them down, then we'll have the same success story that we did against Buffalo. And I don't see Mattinson running for 9 yards a carry, sort of like Cook was for Buffalo. If he is, then we got problems. But we need to really hope that we can stop that running game, and then just make sure we put pressure on Dobbs. And I think if we can do that, and we go out with the same offensive scheme, run the ball, and let us dink and dunk our way down the field. I don't care. I don't care if Russ has one of the lowest yards per attempt, average in the league. I don't really care as long as we're moving the chains and we're getting down there. But we have scored touchdowns. That was sort of worrying me last week, is all these field goals. I thought they were going to come back to bite us, and they almost did because Buffalo drove down, took the lead. And that leads us on. Is the offense doing enough? They're doing just enough now. I think. And I didn't see this. So Alex comes in and says Mattinson may be out with a concussion. So
Oh
could you look
wow.
at that? Could you look at that, Graham?
No,
So
this is the first I'm hearing about it.
yeah, me too. So, and I looked at the injury report this morning and I didn't see it, but maybe I just overlooked it. So maybe he is. So, but thanks for that update. If so, but I agree. We need more sustained offensive drives, and we need to get touchdowns and not field goals, because eventually field goals are going to bite us in the behind, So hopefully we get to that point, though, where when we get into the red zone, we're cashing them in. So that's where we really need to get good, is make sure we're, putting the ball in the end zone and not settling for field goals. So
We have to stop penalties too.
we do. I mean, I know McGlinchey did he have just the one false start, correct? I think Bowles had a hold. I think there were
I
a
think
couple other holds.
he.
So I know Cushenberry had a rough a rough couple minutes there for a while. I think Cushenberry had like 3 penalties in a row, you know.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, which Cushenberry's played good for the most part this year. Um, and then he had some issues there, but then he seemed to clean it up. But yeah, we need to make sure we clean up the penalties, and let's put the ball in the end zone. Yes, and Alex brings up a good point. McGlinchey has been better, but he has been a drive killer with some of his penalties. And yeah, hopefully, but yeah, I think the offense just continue doing what we're doing, run the ball. It's like I said earlier at the beginning of the show. I don't need Russell Wilson to be a 350-yard, 4-touchdown guy. And people don't like me using this term, but I like to use the term a game manager. And a game manager is somebody has like pedestrian like stats, like a couple hundred yards, a couple touchdowns. The key is a game manager does not make mistakes that cost you football games. You know, they don't go out there, they don't throw the interception, they don't throw the or they don't fumble the ball, they don't take the unnecessary sacks. And that's what we need Russell Wilson to do. Russell needs to, if Russell's, to a point, where the pressure's coming, then, get out of the pocket and throw the ball away. That is one area I would love to see Russ improve in is get outside of the pocket, throw the ball away. There were 2 plays in a row he took sacks on, there at the end, towards the end
Yeah.
of the game. And I thought, oh my God, here we go again. And I think that's when Buffalo then got the ball back and drove down and got that go ahead touchdown. I don't know if I'm remembering that whole sequence correctly or not, but I know there was one drive where he took 2 sacks in a row. So, if Powers is out, does that worry me a little bit? Quinn Bailey hasn't played a lot. I think Powers has been really strong over there. I think that left side of the line from the center to the left has been really good, and I think Ben Powers sort of helps Bowles a little bit. So I'm hoping that if Powers doesn't go, and did you hear? I don't know if they've practiced yet today or not, and I don't know if the injury reports come out today or not. But I think Powers was a limited participant yesterday, correct?
Um,
Or was he a DNP? I thought he was.
let's see.
Let
I
me
did see.
um, let me look at their injury report really quick and see what we have. But let's see. So Powers did not practice yesterday as well. So that will be a concern if he's not ready to go. Can Quinn Bailey step up? And
Bailey has played a little bit. He is
yeah, he's played. I think he's played 36 snaps, is what I read this season. He hasn't played a lot.
he was on the
So
right side a little bit, trying to
right,
help McGlinchey out.
yeah. So I'm hoping that losing Powers doesn't affect Bowles too much. I think Bowles and Powers work well together. So, but we'll see how that whole thing goes. So, all right, keys to the game. I mean, and I think we've talked about them enough. Defense. I mean,
Yeah,
we need to we can't let the Vikings run for 142 yards. So yeah, Madison, he does have a concussion, but he was in limited practice, so I don't know if he's going to go or not. And we'll have to look at their depth chart as
Ty
um,
Chandler.
High Chandler. So we'll see, but we can't let them establish the running game the way Buffalo was, because I tell you what, if Buffalo, and this is probably why Dorsey's not working anymore. If he would have just ran the ball, well, we couldn't stop him. They were just going up and down the field, but he decided he wanted
Yeah,
to appease Josh Allen and force Josh Allen to throw the ball, which Josh was struggling, and Josh has been struggling for 2 years since Dable's left, in my opinion. uh, that Josh Allen sort of backslid. But we can't let Minnesota run the ball, and we have to be able to run the ball. That's my main keys right there. And we have to put some pressure on Dobbs. I don't care if they're sacks. Put pressure on him and force him to make mistakes. Is what I'm saying. So we got to manufacture. Do we get aggressive now? Is our defense enough where are you comfortable with us bringing more exotic blitzes and things like that? All right, what do you think, Graham? I mean, would you like to see VJ turn it up a little bit more, and let's start getting a little more aggressive with blitzing?
I
And,
think
and we saw
that.
a little bit more of it in the Buffalo game, but I would like to see more. More calculated risk on blitz. I think our secondary is playing well enough that you know we can maybe leave these guys out there on islands a little bit more if we wanted to bring some extra pressure. But we
If you're
don't
go-
seem to be getting home with 3 and 4 guys, so we need to bring some more, in my opinion. So, but Zach Allen has been, a little stronger on the interior of the line. So if we can get some manufactured pressure from there too, which would be nice. But if we put some pressure on Dobbs and force him into some bad decisions, I think that helps us as well. So, what do you think, Graham? What's your keys to a Bronco victory?
Well, I want to go back to the pressure thing here. Uh, so I don't know how much pressure you're like how often you're wanting to bring blitzes and all that because Dobbs, I believe, is a pretty decent runner.
Oh, he is. He is, and
So
you're gonna have to spy him almost. If you're gonna go that way, I think you're gonna have to sort of use Benito as a spy like you did against Mahomes and you did against Allen.
yeah,
So, but then that sort of changes up your game plan a little bit, But hopefully
I
we can
think
just get some pressure with Benito and Browning and those guys.
I think that a for the defense is the Patrick Surtain versus Justin Jefferson and keeping TJ Hawkinson in check. What other than that, like what do they have?
Right. And not a lot. I mean, I don't think they have anybody that we need to freak out about. So, excuse me. Gee whiz. Uh, sorry, my throat is drying out on me. I apologize, everybody. So let me. I'm just pulling up their receiving yards. They got Addison, who's not bad. You know, So Hawkinson's their leading receiver, Addison's second, and then Jefferson's third, which Jefferson missed quite a few games, and but Dobbs in what Dobbs play one game there now, or is it 2 games? Do you know?
Sorry, I had to mute for a minute.
Oh, that's all right. Do you know if Dobbs has played 1 game there or 2?
I believe he's played multiple.
I thought he's only been there 1 game, so but
I
maybe I'm off.
I'll double check here.
So anyway, he already has 110 rushing yards there, so he can run. So that's another thing we need to watch. So it's sort of spying him. But so and Alex is right. We do have to get pressure from the front four, so we don't have to blitz as often. So
Yeah, I
so
don't
uh,
know because NFL Network or NFL.com, I should say. Do you
yeah,
know the Vikings schedule? Because he played the Saints in week 10, at Falcons week 9. I don't
yeah.
know.
So maybe he's played 2 games there. I can't remember when Arizona released him. So it was before the trade deadline, I believe, that they released him. Correct. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So um, let's get into predictions.
I believe that was actually a trade.
Oh, was it a trade?
Yeah, that was a
Oh,
trade.
okay, never mind. I'm asleep at the wheel. I have a NyQuil hangover today, everybody. So that's what happens when you take NyQuil, and then you have a podcast to do in the morning. Your brain's a little foggy. So, all right, predictions. Who do you see winning this game, Graham? Can we go 4 in a row?
I think Minnesota's actually going to pull this one off. I think that it's probably going to be close again. Um, and it's because of Josh Dobbs, I
You think they're scarier with Josh Dobbs than they were with Kirk Cousins? Does he give him an added element that Cousins didn't give him?
I think Kirk Cousins, I don't know, like could he run? I think that Josh Dobbs is a much bigger threat in terms of that.
Right,
So
right. I agree. So, but yeah, the way I
Yeah.
see, yeah, I mean, so what's your score prediction?
Whew. I'm not sure this
You're not
week.
sure. Okay, but you're going
Yeah,
Minnesota. You're going Minnesota,
yeah.
though. Okay. All right, everybody. Everybody, throw rocks at Graham. Graham is going Minnesota. I wish Matt were around because I'm sure Matt is going Minnesota. Um, Alex, who do you got in the game? Um, I'm actually gonna go for the second week in a row. I'm gonna go Broncos. I think the Broncos win this game. I think we are a better team than Minnesota. Um, I'm I'm gonna go Denver 28, Minnesota 17. I think we'll win this game fairly easily.
All right. Well, I had a little bit of time to think here. I'm probably gonna go something like 17-13.
Minnesota.
Yeah, much
Okay.
lower.
All right. And then Alex is going Denver 27, Minnesota 25. So and also everybody remember, I will be putting it up here shortly, the pick'em contest over on the Colorado Sports Connection Facebook group. Go over there, do your Willow Seasonings pick'em contest, pick the winner, put in the score, and then we'll select it. Last week's winner was Kenny Kirkpatrick at K&K Sports. Um, so go ahead and get your stuff in, and maybe you could win a Willow Seasoning product of your choice. So, all right. Oh, woo, excuse me, boy. that that one got me. Oh, thanks
Closing out the show
everybody.
with that.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us today. Sorry I'm a little under the weather, not feeling as feisty as I normally am, but I wanted to at least come on, talk about it. I didn't want Jody to think I was hiding out because Russ is playing well. So I've even told Matt that I'm okay with, keeping Russ around another year, and let's get a guy and let's get somebody. But I just don't see him as a 10-year guy like Jody does. But hey, Jody could be right. Jody's been right, so that Russ would be okay. And Russ is having a good year statistically. So, and we're starting to win. So that's the important thing right now is we're starting to win. But I just don't see him and Sean Payton lasting together for 10 years. So, all right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Remember, Sunday night Bronco game. We got more stuff coming up. We got Matt and Baylor on Wednesday nights, correct, Graham? With Broncos tonight. I
Yep.
believe it's a Wednesday show. We also have on Tuesdays. I'm not sure the day. You have to check on the Colorado Sports Connect group. We have the Colorado Avalanche show with Scott and Jenna. So check that show out as well. I think we have a Colorado Buffalo show that might be coming out this week. Not 100%.
Tomorrow.
Yep, might be coming out tomorrow. So looking forward to that. So hey, everybody, if you're interested in joining up with Colorado Sports Connect and doing some online streaming or podcasting or whatever, hook up with Matt. Let him know. So, but Graham, hey, thanks again. Stay warm up there in Canada. Thanks for being behind the scenes and helping us out today. Hopefully next week I'm feeling 100% and I'll be my feisty self. Oh, next week we will not have a show. Unfortunately, Willow Seasonings will be doing a Black Friday event. So, maybe we can squeeze one in sometime during the week. We'll have to see. Graham and I'll talk. We'll let everybody know. So, but hey, everybody, thanks again for joining us. Thanks for your comments and stuff. And we will talk to everybody later.